Hello, this is Chala Dincoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert, coming to you live with another edition of my podcast, The Naked Marketing Podcast, where we're clothed, but we're honest about our marketing mistakes. I have Brett Hill as my next guest. How are you, Brett?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How about you?
Good. I'm in Canada and we're having a really heat wave here. So I don't know, where are you?
I'm in Seattle, so I'm just, a couple hundred miles south of you. Well, it's Canada.
Yeah,
And
you're probably having a heat wave too.
well, soon they say it's going to be over 100 here in Seattle in a few
Oh,
days. And that's
God.
like, I know that's like crazy making for this area.
Oh, get out of there.
Well, it's gorgeous the rest of the year.
All right. Come to Canada. They're not allowing you, I don't think. I think they just opened the borders. It's insane. It's really
Who knows what's going on?
Who knows, right? Exactly. So tell us what you do and who you help.
I am a mindfulness coach, mindfulness and communications coach, in the sense that I specialize in how to help people express their authentic self and speak with their what I call embodied authority. And I focus a lot on professionals, on people in business, coaches, and people who are working for corporations or other organizations whose voice matters, like so they're managers or they're leaders or executives, and they use their voice in ways that makes a difference.
That is so awesome. So how long have you been doing that, Brett?
Well, I pivoted about 3 years ago to be doing this full time. I actually had a career in IT, and
Wow.
and so I worked for Microsoft and some others as what they call a technical evangelist. So I was the guy that would speak about the technology and try to get everybody interested in what's going on with it. And so I had a speaking career, and also I had learned a lot about mindfulness and coaching because and psychotherapy, because I had been studying that as sort of a side gig for a very long time. And I finally decided to just take all of that knowledge, which I'd had some fabulous teachers and some great learnings, and fold it into helping people in the business world do better with being able to be present and listen better and speak better and more effectively, and we just reduce the amount of churn in people's lives that happen just because we're not really present with what people are saying or what we're saying.
Yeah, for sure. And how do you think COVID has affected that?
Oh, dramatically. It's like, COVID took a lot of people out of the work environment and put people in their offices. And so for the very first time, people, what goes on a video screen, face-to-face communication wise, is really quite different from, in a room. And it feels different, and the things that you say and do and how you do it differs a lot. And so people have had a chance to kind of really reframe how they do communications, and for better and for worse, right? So there's been a lot of anxiety and churn and relearning and stress about, well, how do I do this? Well, how does this work? I don't know who I am anymore in a conversation or in a group. How do we do groups? What makes an effective meeting now? All of those things are really good to bring into focus. And so there's been a lot of learning going on.
That's wonderful. Now, your business was so young, right?
Yeah.
How was it affected through COVID?
Well, fortunately for me, I was just starting to get things going about 5 or 6 months before COVID actually hit. And
Wow.
so I had a TEDx talk scheduled had 2 TEDx talks scheduled. Both got canceled like the week before because of
Oh,
COVID. I know, it's like, what? And so I decided to use basically this period as a building phase, and that's been working very well. So I launched a podcast, and I'm doing a lot of outreach and having some success with that.
well, this is a marketing show. So tell us about your outreach. How are you reaching out?
Well, I'm doing a lot of work with coaches, in the sense of like I've been connecting with coaches either on LinkedIn or through coaching organizations, and saying things like, let me come in and talk to your group as a mindful communication specialists and help them up level the conversations that they're having with clients. And also this works with business people as well. It's like, and what started me doing that was I was getting pitched, because one thing on LinkedIn is you get pitched a lot by people. Hey, I love your stuff. And by the way, can we chat? And then I want you to join my $12,000, focus or group, whatever. And I got a bunch of those pitches, and I was actually interested in a few of them, but they did such a bad job of listening to me that I didn't want to do it. And I thought, these guys need help. They need to learn how to actually connect with the people that they're pitching. And with just a few tweaks, these guys would be closing a lot more business like me, if they could actually just get off their script long enough to listen to what the client is saying and respond in a way that makes it feel like that I'm actually in the conversation,
But I'm so curious, because I do that kind of outreach myself. I've had to do that because
sure,
all of my talks got canceled when
welcome to the club, right? Yeah,
exactly. So I was like in the fetal position, no money coming in, nothing doing, and then I had to learn how to market online. So
and you had to reposition yourself.
I had to reposition myself. Now, luckily, people still desperately need what I do. Like marketing, the value of marketing has gone up like exponentially since COVID, because people are, they need help. But what did change was the manner in which my funnels changed, the manner in which I was out. So, and one of the funnels I learned to build was LinkedIn. So I'm really curious about what you're referring to. Are you referring to having these bad conversations on DMs, which is like direct messages, or once you're reported to like this kind of one-on-one?
Yeah, this kind of one-on-one is kind of like you get the call, right? It's kind of like you take the call, so they reach out to you and you get on the phone and they're pitching you their thing and they're saying, yeah, we've got this marketing gig, we're going to double your business or whatever they're saying. And I'm trying to interject, oh, by the way, my particular thing. And then also, and I said, but the thing about me is like, well, what you really need to know is what you really need to know is what I need, rather than trying to tell me, and it's kind of like, can you just calm down long enough to let me speak? And, and it kind of had 2 or 3 of those kinds of experiences where people just aren't really listening. They're pitching. And oh my God, I know that they would do so much better if they just dialed it down a little bit and made the connection. I had a couple of guys who were really, really good at that, and I wound up doing some business with them.
Good for you. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. It's so funny because I certified when I was working in the corporate world for 18 years. I worked for Pepsi, Pizza Hut, Frito-Lay, and I thought, all I have to do is get my certification as a coach from ICF, and then people are going to like run to work with me, right? I thought,
yeah, right.
Right? They're going to beating down my door. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. Let's just put it that way. But so I actually went, because I thought that, I went and got, just like many, many millions who are watching and listening to us today, that is not the way to make $1 million, folks. That is the way to go broke. Yeah. I mean, and so I went and got certified. And so part of our training was listening.
Yeah.
And the use of silence. Right. So at least I'm so fortunate. Then I took like super, super high level sales training with the most expensive coaches in the world. And that's what they're teaching.
Yeah, of course. Right. So, hey, guess what? I'm not the most expensive coach in the world, and you can get the same information, right? It's kind of like, and so it's like, it's because it's science. It's straight up science that we're talking about in a lot of ways. It's not just the skills of persuasion, although they are skills, but it's like when people feel like you hear them, they relax and want to trust you. And that's just the way we do relationships in general. If you go on a date with somebody, or you're, just checking out a relationship, you're looking for some mutual. I mean, are you going to like have a second date with somebody who just doesn't even hear a word you say, and they're just like, well, and this, and then, and it's all about them? No,
I've been there.
Well, yeah, we all have, right? Yeah, we have.
It's been awful. I've spent
it's
like
no
40
fun.
minutes on the phone with a guy.
Yeah,
Never
it's like,
asked me one question. It's been awful. And then they're like, so you want to meet?
Yeah,
Like,
no.
no.
You can hire somebody to just listen to you. Why don't you just tape your thing and send it to me? It's kind of like,
Exactly. I'll just listen to you while I'm
there's no
like,
relationship here. And so really the bottom line is business is about relationships.
yeah.
And people forget that. And you really have to build a relationship with people. People have to want to be not your best buddy, so to speak, but they have to trust you and see you as somebody that can help them. And the only way they're going to feel that way is, first of all, you look good, you sound good, you have expertise, you have for a good value, and they feel like you're listening to them, and because it's personal. It's in the end, it's something personal. It's like, you're going to help me in my business, and that matters to me personally for a lot of reasons.
I actually had a fight with a client, and she actually left me because we had a fight about this very topic of trust. And I said, it is absolutely possible to build trust quickly. And the way that I teach how to do that is something called niching. So I teach people how to figure out which group of people who hang out together, so either by industry or interest group, are you going to specialize in, and then how are you going to become an expert in their pain?
Yeah, exactly.
And just one pain, not all, like just
Oh.
one facet of their pain. So that's called super niching. So that's what, and I believe that when all of your content and everything you say is about that one super niche problem for that, and always in front of that same one small group of people, they get to know you, like you trust you already before meeting you, because all your stuff is in front of them. It's in front of their meetings and, organizations and associations, whatever. So we had a huge fight and she left.
Oh, wow.
And because she was of the school that, and I don't know what you think about this, but she felt that.
But I don't want to have a fight.
I don't want to, I don't fight. I know, I'm Canadian. We don't fight. We don't even have guns. But all that to say, she felt that you needed to have a very long relationship to build trust. And so I don't know, what does your training say?
Well, my bias is that there's a scale there, right? It's not like you can say what it takes, because everyone's different. So what I hear you saying about her is that she needs a lot of foundation for trust. And so that may very well be true for her. That doesn't mean that everyone does. Now, I would say that if I put out a lot of content in a specific area, let's pick one, for example, super niche sort of focus that would be appropriate for my work would be like public speaking anxiety. Okay. That's a very, very specific, very targeted thing that I can help with. So now I don't have a website that's all about target, that, but I could. And so if all of my content was about that, then someone reading it would feel I would call it a predisposition to trust. They would see you as an authority and they would feel like, oh, he really gets me, man. He knows exactly what I'm feeling. So when they talk to me, I've already wired up a predisposition, and all I have to do is land in the zone of expectation there. And if I don't blow it by not listening to them at all, then I'm probably going to get the business. Versus I have to fight for credibility and for them to trust. So you're exactly right in the sense that you predispose someone's expectation that, oh, I think I'm really going to like this guy. And what's really going on is a hopefulness. I hope this guy is what I think he is. And then all you have to do is step into the role that they've already built for themselves, that you've built for them. But speaking to legit, and this is all completely authentic. You're speaking to legitimate concerns that that they have.
Exactly.
And you have a value that you can help them with. And so when they feel that, and then you get on the phone with them, all you have to do is just say, yeah, that's what I do. Let's talk about what's specific. What's it like for you? Oh, because and here's the trick. If you listen, they'll have a specific keyword or phrase or belief system that's the pinnacle, the thing for them. And if you phrase your offer, your value around that, they will do business with you.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we're taught something called mirroring, which I'm sure you know.
Yeah, from NLP. Mhm.
Exactly. So if you used their words and their cadence, they feel more comfortable, and you're validating them. In fact, I was just listening to a book called Never Split the Difference, and it's written by a hostage counter-terrorist.
Oh yeah,
negotiator.
yeah, I've read that, I think.
It's
Yeah. Mhm.
fabulous. It's just, I'm just like, I'm talking to my 12-year-old differently. It's so amazing. So he uses that a lot, right?
Well, right. And there's now NLP and those techniques are the mechanics. So
Mhm.
where I take it is, so it's true that if you sit down from someone and like if I'm noticing you're in the Zoom call, like if
Mhm.
I do this and, and I can start to mirror you and
Yeah.
that will actually help. It's a lot easier to do in person than it is.
Yeah. But even on camera, you can do it.
No, it's true. You can.
Yeah.
And it's true that it tends to help people feel like, oh, you're in rapport with me. But if I'm doing that mechanically, to
Mhm.
me, that's not the most authentic thing I would hope for. What I'm really hoping for is creating actual rapport rather than the appearance of rapport.
Sure.
In that case, you don't have to worry about mirroring because you're really doing it.
And
And
yeah.
and so, and it's really so much more effective because then you're feeling it, they're feeling it, and it's about the legitimate relationship rather than a contract.
That's true. So now let's talk about, like, you're so interesting. I can't even ask you about marketing. I'm just talking about business, or I'm seriously.
Well, it's
But
fun.
let's
I'm having a
talk
good
about
time.
marketing, the marketing show. Tell me about the biggest marketing mistake that you made in the 3 years that you've had your own business.
Well, the problem that I have is kind of like you said it square on, is this snitching thing. And I've listened to so many people talk to me about, well, you should be doing X and you should be doing Y. And I've really spent a lot of cycles kind of like trying to overly focus my business to match what other people think I should be doing. And
Mhm.
I didn't take, and I eventually it was making me crazy. And I was spending a lot of time recasting my content in a certain framework. And so I've done certain types of focuses. And I recently, like in the last year or so, decided I'm just going to do what I know I'm good at. And I think the thing that I started that flipped it around was, rather than me deciding what I want to focus on so much, what I should do is look at who comes to me naturally, like who is drawn to what I'm doing. And I looked around, I'm going, most of my clients are coaches and people in business. And I said, okay, that's my target audience, the people that they just naturally are drawn to what I do. And so, so now I'm focusing exclusively on that. So rather than saying, well, you should be going after speakers, or you should be going after unemployed people who want to do job interviews because it's so super focused. And yes, I can do those things, but it's not where my heart is. And
Mhm.
so, would it be successful? Yeah. But would I be happy doing that? Probably not, because I really like a little broader view of the world than that. And so I feel like, and that really helped me quite a bit. And now I'm working on a podcast that's going to go pretty big with this company called the Institute of Organizational Mindfulness. And I'm going to be the host of that. And some other things are coming around that's going to be pretty nice.
That sounds amazing. So I just want to get back to the what you said, which I love, is about this niching problem of letting other people tell you what niche you should go into. And the way that I learned niching was when I worked at, and by the way, I also worked at Microsoft, believe it or
Oh, is
not.
that right?
Like a year. Yeah, I was a product manager, and let me tell you, I learned how to do presentations in
Yeah,
front of
you
like
do.
hundreds of people. Like that was my school
All
of,
the time. You're presenting
yeah,
all the time. Yeah.
exactly. But I was not a technophile, so I was like, get me out of here, because I came from Pepsi. So it was so different. So, and then I went on to a drinks company, like alcoholic drinks, called Diageo. Like, how much more fun is that?
I
Sorry.
know. I mean, yeah. What do
No,
you do? Oh, I
no
sell drinks for a living.
disrespect.
You want to try one?
Exactly. But they had me launch, just like at Microsoft, they had me launch 7 to 10 minimum new products every year. So it was my job to position them, to niche them, to communicate, what the differentiators were. So when I left corporate and I looked at businesses like us, they were literally, Brett, throwing spaghetti at the wall to try to decide where to focus, who they should and first of all, most people didn't even know. One of my guests yesterday, gym owner, the guy goes, I didn't even know the questions to ask to find someone like you. He didn't know, like, I didn't know what I didn't know. So he was so sweet.
Yeah. People need
right?
help.
Right. So, and I just want to give you cute little story, actually a very sad story. A woman's mother died, and she decided to become a grief coach because she went through such a horrible time that she thought if she had someone like her to help her, that would be a great career. And so she became a grief coach. And for 2 years, she bartered and starved, because what she didn't realize is that there were hospices, hospitals, church doing it for free, right?
Right.
And nobody was willing to pay her $400 an hour, like what, she expected. And so then she every year she kept switching it, because, so what I do is I've, invented a system that I learned from all these Pepsi and all that. And within 2 to 4 weeks, we figure that out by asking the market. And that's what I found that all these marketers and everybody who's calling you on LinkedIn is doing wrong, is that they're trying to figure it out themselves, or by talking to you, or by Googling something.
Yeah. Ask the market is what you said. Yeah, absolutely.
The market. And they just, if you say ask the market, people don't know how to do that. So then I've developed a methodology where we used to spend like, millions of dollars at Pepsi to do, which I've made it into something we can do for free for 2 to 4 weeks. So anyway,
Nice.
I love that you've actually niched. But my bigger question would be, because the money is where your heart is at. I totally agree with you, what you want to do, what you're good at, but also what the gap in the market is. So that's the sweet spot, right? So if you can find that space, and that's what I help with. So I love that you've actually honed in on one industry, because that's the best way. Industry or interest group, those are the only people who naturally self-gather. A lot of coaches that I meet, I don't know about you, but they're trying to target by mindset. So they're like, for example, like, how would you find anybody who has a certain mindset? Like, oh, I want to work with people who have growth mindset. Well, you can't see that, right? They're not.
Well, right. I mean,
or if they're like, oh, they're stuck and they're depressed, like they don't write that, right? Like there's no group that's stuck and depressed. So that's one of the challenges of kind of the niche. And so it's great that you figured it kind of all out. Okay. So we have like totally run out of time. I've had such a good time talking to you because you're such a good listener.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's what you see.
I better be, right?
I hope so. Exactly. So tell me, how people can reach you.
I have a website called languageofmindfulness.com. So it's a lot of words, but it's languageofmindfulness.com. And so there people there's a button right there you can click, and I talk to anyone as a coach for coaching session to see if we're a good fit. So we can just do a casual coaching session, see if there's a fit. And then usually I work with people for a few sessions to kind of outline and a program for them and figure out what's going on, and then help keep them accountable throughout it. Absolutely fabulous process to help people get better at being themselves and being happier.
Thank you, Brett. You've been a great guest. I'm happier already.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All the best.